Hello, in today's video lecture we're going to be talking about trusses. So just a reminder, a truss is a type of engineering structure that is rigid and where all the members are two force members. So we need to have that assumption to count something as a truss. So an example of truss would be this bridge right here. So this bridge is composed of multiple beams that are held together. And if you look, you can see that the beams are only connected at their ends. So all of those pieces are going to be two force members. So this is a prime example of a truss that we can analyze with the different methods we use for trusses. All of those members, two force members, it means that any of the members are either in compression, as shown there, or in tension. And that is the key to our analysis with either the method of sections or method of joints, which we'll talk about in a second. So we can further break down trusses into plane trusses and space trusses. So for a plane truss is a truss that exists entirely in one plane. This means that essentially it's going to be a 2D problem. As an example of that, we've got this roof truss here. All of those beams kind of lie in a single plane. So we'd probably analyze this as just a simple 2D problem, and that makes it a lot easier for analysis. Sometimes we can approximate pieces of a truss, of a 3D truss, as plane trusses. An example of that would be this bridge right here. So with this bridge, I've got more or less the sides of the bridge are going to be 2D structures, and then I've got stringers, or connecting pieces that are connecting those two planar trusses. So with this, I would still probably analyze each side as a plane truss, even though the whole thing is kind of more a 3D structure. The alternative to a plane truss is going to be called a space truss. So a space truss does not lie in a single plane. And that means that we essentially need to treat it as a 3D problem. An example of a space truss, here we've got a truss structure that's going to be used to support a very large roof. And we've got members going in all sorts of directions. So there's no way to kind of break it down into that plane truss problem. We need to deal with x, y, and now z coordinates as well. Another second example here, something you might see more often, if you've got power lines with those towers, any of those towers are also going to be space trusses, and we need to analyze it in that method. So fully 3D systems as opposed to 2D problems is really this plane truss, space truss difference here. So what are we looking for when we are analyzing these things? What do I mean by that? Basically, we're trying to determine the forces acting on each individual member in the structure. So each member is a two-force member, which means that we really only need one unknown to describe this. I've got either a tension force, like I have here on the bottom, or a compression force. So I've got, say, 5 kilonewtons of compression, 600 pounds of tension. Generally, we're going to denote tension is going to be a positive force. Compression we're going to denote as a negative force. That's just kind of the standard convention that we use here. So the methods for analyzing trusses, how do I find those tension or compression forces? I've got two methods, and these can be used for either plane trusses or space trusses. The first method is going to be called the method of joints. And the reason it's called the method of joints is it's going to focus on the connection points, or the joints, between all the members. So we're going to do an equilibrium analysis of each of those joints, and this is going to be the fastest way to solve for all of the unknown forces. So if I want to solve for all of the forces, I want to use the method of joints usually. The alternative method is going to be called the method of sections. And it involves theoretically cutting our truss. So if I've got our bridge, I might cut it right down the middle, and it's going to let us target certain members. If I just am interested in finding maybe that very top piece, the forces in that, the method of sections is going to let me jump straight to that piece and solve for that. So this is the better method if I've got kind of one or two specific members that I'm looking at. So with that, we've got both of our methods of analysis. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again.